versus Jason. Jason versus Freddy 20 years ago. August the 15th, 2003. Where were you? How old were you? I was 24. Obviously, growing up as a young kid through the 1980s, I was excited. I heard Freddy. I'm not a big crossover guy in terms of, two icons facing each other. But you know what? I mean, my 24-year-old self is like, that's kind of exciting. What is it going to be like? Is it going to be good? The trailer. Love the trailer. Big lead up. Movies being marketed online was still relatively new. They had Flash websites and everything. Pretty cool stuff. You don't see that kind of stuff anymore for movies. Freddy versus Jason. Freddy versus Jason. Let's do that again. Come on. Freddy versus Jason. Are you excited about it? Are you ready, ladies and gentlemen? By the way, I've launched YouTube membership here on the channel. The link is pinned to the top of the chat room. Check it out. Exclusive perks for those who want to become members here on the channel. Exclusive shows, exclusive images. It's going to be exciting. Emojis, badges, contests, giveaways, you name it. It's going to be fun. Pinned to the top of the chat room. Check it out if you want to become a crazy member here on the channel. Freddy versus Jason. Yes! Yes! Where are all the Freddy versus Jason fans out there? I know you're out there somewhere. I know you are out there somewhere, ladies and gentlemen. You are out there somewhere. 20 years ago today, August the 15th, 2003. I was 24 years old. I was about 2 years into my career in the entertainment industry, and I was doing some. At that time, I was doing on-camera acting and auditioning for commercials and all that kind of stuff, and obviously the internet was still relatively in its infancy at that time. When I say infancy, I don't mean like it's completely brand new, but in terms of how movies were being marketed, because 2003, again, you're still, Facebook was established in 2004, but it didn't really become a thing to the masses until I think 2005 or 2006. So you're still, a couple years away from that. YouTube was 2005. Twitter was it still was like the last sort of innocence, the last innocent kind of years, 2003, before social media just destroyed everything. And, again, I'm not a big sort of crossover kind of, guy. I've been asked that question quite a bit over the years. Dave, what about this? What about Pinhead versus this person versus that person? I don't like to cross the streams. I'm not a big crossing the streams guy. It's just who I am. It just seems a little silly, and for me, it kind of waters down the. I don't know. It just feels like no. They should live in their own. They're their own thing. You need to take it seriously. This is cool as his own singer. What about Jaws versus Pinhead? Dun 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 dun. It's like nah. It's just, and I understand that I am at least what I perceive to be kind of on the outskirts of that. I'm not. It's not really I think more people really like the crossover stuff than maybe not. Maybe, I don't know. You can comment below and let me know your thoughts. But nonetheless, I do recognize that Freddy and Jason, of course, are the two titans of the 1980s. Now, I'm a Halloween guy. And you know that the original Halloween's my favorite horror movie of all time. Michael Myers is my favorite horror character of all time. Favorite slasher villain of all time, Michael Myers. And there is no doubt that Michael Myers is one of the greats. He is one of the greats. He is iconic. He is legendary. If it wasn't for the original Halloween, there's a good chance that who knows what would have happened with the slasher subgenre. Would Sean Cunningham have wanted to do a Friday the 13th if it wasn't for who knows, right? Who knows? But Michael is, Michael. Yes. But if you're over the age of 40, like my age, 44, certainly if you're over 50, if you were a kid growing up through the 1980s or a teenager growing up through the 1980s, or even 20-something grown up through the 1980s, you know what I'm about to say is true, ladies and gentlemen. You know this. Michael was non-existent. Nobody cared about Michael Myers. Now, that's not Michael's fault. That's just because he was there in 1981, and then he wasn't there again until 1988. So through the heart of the 1980s, right? The heart of the 1980s with, fucking big hair and Michael Jackson, and, the birth of Thriller, you know what I'm saying? And Cabbage Patch Kids and He-Man, basically, when like those early seasons of Stranger Things was set, right? I mean, the core of the 80s, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, the core of the 80s. Michael wasn't there. He wasn't there. He was not there. He was not there. He pretty much missed the 80s. He went to sleep at the beginning of the decade and then woke up at the end of the decade like, oh, fuck, oh my God, I'm late, I gotta put on my pants, oh fuck, I'm late to the party, oh shit, oh, Freddy and Jason are just tearing it up. I mean, that's what happened. That's what happened. Freddy and Jason ruled the 80s, baby. It was a Freddy and Jason decade. I hate to say it, but it's true. And if you happen to find a Michael Myers kind of mask, listen, you kids don't know how lucky you are today, because back in the 80s and the 90s, it was like, it kind of looks like Michael, but it wasn't called a Michael Myers mask. It's kind of, you know the ones I'm talking about. And of course we had the, that was all we had. And you'd go trick-or-treating in it, and the parents would be like, oh, you're Jason. No, I'm not Jason. I'm Michael. Michael? What? It's because Jason and Freddy were tearing it up. And I see we got a new member. Michael, damn it, becomes a new member. Tier number 1. Thank you, Michael. Really appreciate that. We also got a couple other members. I think I'm spitting there. What a shock. We got a couple other new members as well. They are, just today, it was Kevin L. and Chuck M0503. Thank you to both of you. Like I said, yeah, if you want to become a channel member here on the channel, the link is pinned to the top of the chat room. We're doing awesome stuff, exclusive to channel members, of course, exclusive shows, and you get emojis and badges, and you get your name on the title card, of course, at the beginning of every live stream and every show. And I'm planning to do some giveaways and some contests and stuff. We're in week 1 here of the membership, and we've already got about 65 members. My goal is to get to 100 by Halloween. Is it possible? I don't know. Come on and join the party. So anyway, Freddy, that's what they was. Freddy did. So it's no surprise then that there was always what about a Freddy versus Jason? And I understand that, decades, we had the Wolfman versus the Mummy and Frank. I get there's always been crossovers. I've never been that kind of a guy. But I recognize the cultural significance of this movie and the cultural significance of this moment, because there were many fans that have been wanting this, well, up to that point, probably 15 years. It's hard to believe that 2003 was only 19. More time has passed when we got Freddy versus Jason from when Freddy was born, like in 1984, then, do you know what I'm saying? Like, there's more time has passed since Freddy versus Jason came out than time had passed when Freddy was born in 84, and the Freddy versus Jason movie, was only 19 years. It's insane. It's insane. Time flies. So, I recognized it. And although I wasn't crazy on it as a 24-year-old kid, I remember going to the website. I don't know if it was freddyversusjason.com or whatever it was. I have no idea. But I remember going to the website because, again, back at that time in 2003, right before social media, a lot of these studios were utilizing Flash. Remember Flash? Right now, most websites are, HTML and just kind of, got back to basics, got back to simplicity, right? But there was a period, and I know that some Flash is still there, of course. But when Flash first came in, any website you went to, it was like, holy shit, it was wild. And the Freddy versus Jason site was kind of like that. And I remember it was just like the two of them, and they're standing there, right? And there was like this really cool soundscape. It was like, bo, bo, bow, 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 bow. It was really cool. And I liked it so much that I got my tape recorder and I put my tape recorder up to the speaker of my computer and I recorded boom, boom. I really liked it because in those days, I mean, there's no way to, how do you rip it from the actual, I have no idea. So it was, I really liked, and I was looking forward to it. I really was, and because although I was like, I don't know. I mean, it's Freddy Krueger. It's Jason, man. It's Jason. Although even at that time I was like, why is he so much bigger than he was in the last movie? But anyway, but nonetheless, so the movie came out and, I thought it was, I mean, for what it is, it's fine. I haven't seen the movie in probably over a decade. That goes to show you how high on my list it is. But I don't think it's a bad movie. I think my aversion to just the whole idea of having them face off, and of course it's supposed to be like this. I mean, you can't do this. I was reading an article today, and I'm going to read another one here to you in a second, because I think it is only appropriate that I read this article. It's from Bloody Disgusting. It was posted today. It's by Alex DeVincenzo. I'm probably saying that completely wrong. Alex, anyway, you know who you are, buddy. I've never read an article by Alex, I don't believe, from Bloody Disgusting, but nonetheless, he's a big fan of the movie, and I felt it was only fair to celebrate Freddy vs. Jason and read this positive article from somebody who really appreciates it and likes it, for all you Freddy vs. Jason fans out there. Because you know what? I mean, it's gimmicky, it's shticky, it's not particularly scary, but as I was reading another article today on it that said, but it couldn't be. I mean, just the whole premise and the whole idea of bringing Jason and Freddy together into a movie is completely absurd anyway. So I don't think a Freddy versus Jason could have worked in any sort of reality if the movie's I think really the fact that the movies got schlocky and ridiculous and over the top and just downright, well, really sort of paved the way for a Freddy versus Jason to happen. I think it almost gave permission at that point that, an audience is going to accept this. Whereas I don't think you could have done a Freddy versus Jason after, say, like the first Elm Street and maybe the second Friday. I still think it was kind of like, how do you bring these two together when they're still kind of taking themselves relatively seriously? Whereas, you get to Freddy's dead and Jason goes to hell, and it's like, well, the cat's out of the bag now. Let's just schlock these two together. I mean, why not, right? So I think the fact that the franchise became what it became, both of them, I think, as I said, it allowed permission for it to happen. So, again, I don't hate the movie, but I'm glad, it's not, for me, it's not where I want Freddy to be, right? For me, it's not necessarily where I want Jason to be. But I can appreciate it on its own merits. It's schlocky video game, music video, which is no surprise because you got, the director of the film. But it's very sort of gimmicky, shticky. It's like a video game, right? And it doesn't take itself too seriously, but I don't think it can. You put Freddy and Jason together. How can you make a serious movie about that? So really, at the end of the day, you're either going to really buy into it, right? You're going to buy into it, or you're not going to buy into it. And I'm somebody that's just like, I didn't really buy into it, but I can watch it on its own merits and live vicariously through those who absolutely love it and adore it. And it is, because it is the first time that this thing has happened. I mean, there's never been a Michael versus Pinhead or a Leatherface versus Chucky. There's a movie for it. Can you imagine that? But because we've never had anything like that before or since, it is I don't want to go as far as to say it's a classic, because I think there's nuance around when I say classic. It's certainly not a horror classic, but it's a classic in its own right from a certain point of view because of the kind of movie it is, and it's the only one of its kind. So, Pretty cool stuff. Anyway, let me jump over to the other screen and read this article. Hey, Mario Fontana. Fontana? Am I saying that right? Mario Fontana has become a McCrazy member here on the channel. Amazing, Mario. Your name will be on the card the next time I do a stream or a show or a video. All right, let me jump over to the other screen here. This comes to us from Bloody Disgusting. And I don't have my glasses on. God damn it. Let me make this a little wider here. Let me just take this slow because I don't want to make sure because I don't have my glasses on. Freddy vs. Jason, 20 years later, the ultimate horror battle still satisfies after all these years. There you go. I mean, it's, you know, even just that image is kind of, it's hard to take seriously. Anyway, this comes to us, as I said, from Alex DeVincenzo. I'm probably not getting the right beat on that, but nonetheless, you know who you are, Alex. You published this today via Bloody Disgusting. Says, I was somewhat of a late bloomer when it came to my exposure to horror. I lacked the cool older relative or friend that seems to serve as a customary gateway for many genre fans. I had seen a few horror movies growing up. Child's Play and Scream each terrified me at different points in my youth. But seeing Freddy vs. Jason at the tender age of 15, I can imagine that at 15 for sure, is single-handedly responsible for the horror fandom that has consumed my life ever since. Now, isn't that cool if you think about it, right? That Freddy vs. Jason is the movie that got this guy right here, who's writing for Bloody Disgusting, into horror. It's pretty cool. I will say that is pretty cool. So he no doubt has a love and affection for this movie. Without the movie, which hit theaters 20 years ago today, that's right, August the 15th, 2003, I very likely wouldn't be writing for Bloody Disgusting now. Wow. Amazing. That's deep. And I mean that. Like, that's pretty cool. I knew of Freddy and Jason through pop culture osmosis, but I hadn't seen any of the combined 17 films that comprise the Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday the 13th franchises when Freddy vs. Jason piqued my interest. Even with the advent of Netflix DVDs by mail, I had neither the patience nor the budget to rent them all before seeing the two slasher icons duke it out. So I thought I could get the gist by watching the first movie in each respective series. Elm Street became an immediate favorite, but you can imagine my surprise when I discovered that Jason isn't even the killer in the first Friday. Little did I know that horror fans have been waiting many years for Freddy vs. Jason, the development of which is among the most complicated in horror history. Fan desire for a crossover began shortly after Freddy started dominating cinemas in the mid-'80s, and studio negotiations followed shortly after. But it seemed like the two slasher icons would finally face off after Elm Street rights holders, New Line Cinema, purchased the rights to Jason. Years of speculation were all but confirmed, but Jason Goes to Hell, the final Friday, which concludes with Freddy's glove pulling Jason's mask down to hell. Oh, we're all but confirmed by Jason Goes to Hell when Freddy... Right. Thank you for bearing with me as I, as usual, forgot to bring my glasses into the studio. But it would be another decade before Freddy vs. Jason came to fruition. More than 15 screenwriters tried to crack the story, costing the studio a reported $6 million. Wow. But none of them could satisfy all the parties necessary to secure a green light. Most takes read like overly complicated fan fiction, including retconning backstories, with Freddy having an affair with Mrs. Voorhees. I love it. I don't love it, but you know, that's hilarious. And or being a camp counselor who let Jason drown. Fascinating, interesting, but that definitely would completely retcon a lot. I actually didn't know those two things. That's cool. See, you learn something new every day. Thanks, Alex. For more on the various false starts, Dustin McNeil's 2017 book, Slash of the Titans, The Road to Freddy vs. Jason, is required reading. Very cool. And there's the man, the myth, the legend right there. Mr. Robert Englund, folks. Mr. Roberto Englund. All right, let me keep going here. Yeah, feel free to send in super chats or whatever the case is, folks. I will get to them after I'm done reading the article here. So do not fret. Do not fret. I will get to them as usual in case you're new here. It was Damian Shannon and Mark Swift who previously penned an unproduced... Oh, God, don't you hate that when that happens with ads? An unproduced adaptation of the cinematic Danger Girl... Excuse me, of the comic Danger Girl for New Line that conceived a concept which everyone could agree on. Both the Elm Street and Friday series were at their best when kept simple. And Freddy vs. Jason's setup is ingeniously straightforward compared to the prior attempts. It presents the classic versions of the horror icons known the world over while avoiding, but not ignoring, other baggage to keep... Oh, there we go again. I hate that when that happens. But not ignoring other baggage to keep it as widely accessible as possible. It also isn't as outlandish, with the only real suspension of disbelief, beyond what's inherent to supernatural slashers, being that Springwood, Ohio is within a night's drive distance from Camp Crystal Lake, New Jersey. Yeah, that's true. That kind of makes sense. Having recently revitalized another slasher favorite for modern audiences with Bride of Chucky, Ronnie Yu was hired to direct. The incomparable Robert Englund, I would agree, would of course play Freddy Krueger for the 8th and as of yet final time. Kane Hodder, who had become a fan favorite for his commitment to the previous 4 Friday the 13th installments, was expected to reprise the role of Jason. But you had a different version for the character. He wanted a hulking, killing machine with sympathetic eyes. Ken Kurtzinger, who previously donned the hockey mask for a stunt sequence in Friday the 13th, Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan, fit the bill. He was in that. He also got thrown through he was like a bartender at a restaurant in that movie. Freddy catches new viewers up to speed with a voiceover during the prologue, explaining that the children of Elm Street and beyond have forgotten about him, rendering the Springwood slasher powerless. He resurrects Jason from hell in order to make people remember him. He may get the blood, but I'll get the glory, he sneers. And that fear is my ticket home. The plan proves to be too successful, resulting in the two baddies duking it out first in the dream world where Freddy has home field advantage. And then in the real world at Jason's stomping grounds of Crystal Lake. Not safe awake or asleep, among those embroiled in the chaos are final girl Lori, Monica Keena from Dawson's Creek, love of her life Will Rollins, Jason Ritter, son of John Ritter, of course. I love John Ritter, love him on Three's Company. Joan of Arcadia, stuck-up Kia, Kelly Rowland of Destiny's Child, party girl Gibb, Catherine Isabel from Ginger Snaps, nerd Linderman, Chris Marquette, Fanboys, stoner Freeberg, Kyle Labine, Will's loyal friend Mark, Brendan Fletcher, Tideland, and Gibbs' obnoxious boyfriend Trey, Jesse Hutch, Batwoman, and Deputy Stubbs. Lachlan Monroe from Riverdale, I believe is how you say that. Deputy Stubbs. Come on, Stubbs. What's going on, Stubby? What's going on, Stubby? Love it. I went into Freddy vs. Jason. This is Alex, of course, not me. I went into Freddy vs. Jason with my limited knowledge and loved every second of its 90-minute runtime. 15-year-old Alex, now he's talking in the third person. I love it. 15-year-old Alex was admittedly scared, but I couldn't get enough of the gratuitous bloodshed, the unexpected sense of humor, and the WWE-worthy battles. It didn't hurt that the soundtrack perfectly coincided with the transition of my musical taste. Oh no, damn it, I hate when that happens. My musical taste from new metal heavy hitters, Slipknot, Mushroomhead. Oh my God, I'm probably not gonna be able to pronounce these. That's not my kind of music. Slipknot, Mushroomhead, Powerman 5000, Il Nino, to metalcore acts on the rise like Killswitch, Engage, Hatebreed, Lamb of God, From Autumn to Ashes. I've only heard of Slipknot out of all of those. Hey, different strokes for different folks, right? After the Titans of Terror's bloody battle, the ambiguous ending allowed the debate between fans to continue in perpetuity. Friday the 13th defenders have criticized Freddy vs. Jason for feeling more like an Elm Street movie and aligning Jason with the teens to stop Freddy, while Fredheads have condemned the film for giving Jason nearly all the kills. Both points are valid, but the fact that such a dichotomy exists with no consensus is proof that the approach worked. No matter who you were betting on. Oh, damn it. Did it again. Where'd it go? There we go. No matter who you were betting on, an argument could be made that your preferred killer came out on top. Freddy is more sinister than several. Sorry. Oh, bring your glasses in. Freddy is more sinister than several of the later Elm Street installments. And Englund still chews the scenery with his one-liners. Kurt Singer is appropriately imposing, although Hodder's signature Jason mannerisms are missed. Keena gives an optimistic performance in step with the movie's tone, but it's not without nuance. There's my word. Oh yeah, nuance, baby. I'm surprised she didn't go on to more high-profile roles. She also has good chemistry with Ritter. It's also a treat to see Isabel, even if she isn't given much to do. Roland makes a better singer than actor, although her arc with Marquette earns her a dash of sympathy. Labine, I think. Labine, yeah. Looks and acts like a Wish.com Jason Hughes. Wow. Okay. You and cinematographer Fred Murphy's, he was a cinematographer on Secret Window and Stir of Echoes, use of colorful lighting, extends the elemental division between the kills. Blazing red for Freddy, who died by fire. Icy blue for Jason, who died by water, and affirms the heightened reality in which the film is set. The idiosyncratic aesthetic isn't totally out of line for the Elm Street universe, which often explores the surrealism of dreams, but it's certainly more visually ambitious than most of the Friday the 13th franchise. Freddy vs. Jason is decidedly not the scariest, most original, or most realistic movie in either killer's arsenal, but it may very well be the goriest, drawing influence from his Hong Kong action roots. You unleashes gestures of blood with every slash, stab, and hack. Spotty CGI is largely offset by old school practical effects. Trey's death, in which he's, I do like this death. I think it's comical and it's funny, but it is kind of a good death. It's probably one of the best deaths in the movie. There we go. Trey's death, in which he's folded in half backwards into a mattress, is arguably one of Jason's best kills, and I rank the blazing cornfield massacre as a highlight of either franchise. The crowd-pleasing elements of Freddy vs. Jason hold up 2 decades on, but that's not to say it isn't dated. There's an insufferable use of the F slur. If you guys don't know what he's talking about, of course he's talking about the slur for someone who is gay. Which is especially egregious because it's hurled as a casual taunt to Freddy by one of the teens. While the movie has glossy production value carried over from the post-Scream slasher boom, the jittery editing effect occasionally employed for emphasis, makes it feel very early 2000s. With a worldwide gross of $116.6 million on a budget of $30 million, sequel talks began almost immediately, but the horror remake trend sparked by the Texas Chainsaw Massacre a mere 2 months after Freddy vs. Jason would release ultimately led to both Friday the 13th, also written by Shannon and Swift, and A Nightmare on Elm Street getting rebooted. The story of Freddy vs. Jason continued in the Freddy vs. Jason vs. Ash comic book limited series as a satisfactory conclusion. I did not know that. I don't expect everyone to look at Freddy vs. Jason through the same rose-colored glasses, but I'm always taken back when it falls toward the bottom of fans' franchise rankings. It's far from a classic, or even one of the strongest entries in either series. Well, that's probably why it's at bottom of people's rankings. But it delivers on everything I wanted from a movie called Freddy vs. Jason. 20 years later, the passion for horror cinema it ignited in me still thrives. And that comes to us from Alex DeVincenzo. I don't know. I'm totally hitting the emphasis wrong. But again, you know who you are, Alex. Amazing. Thank you for sharing that. That's pretty darn cool, if I do say so myself. So again, I wanted to read that because it is a positive article about Freddy vs. Jason. I'm not a huge Freddy vs. Jason fan. I could sit here and sort of just go on about my, in my Dave McRae way and kind of talk about it. But I saw this article from Bloody Disgusting and I thought, you know what, that's a good article to read because I know a lot of you are Freddy vs. Jason fans. You're big Freddy vs. Jason fans. You really, really like the movie and it works for you on all levels and you actually wouldn't mind seeing a sequel or maybe get Michael versus Pinhead. I recognize there are certain horror fans out there that love the crossovers and the verses and things like that. I'm not one of them, but I wanted to read this and share it because I thought it was very well written. So shout out to Alex of Bloody Disgusting, very well written. And certainly it celebrates Freddy vs. Jason 20 years ago today. August the 15th, 2003. Where were you? Where were you, folks? I want to know. So if you're watching live or after the fact, I guess, jump into the comment section and let me know your thoughts on Freddy vs. Jason. Are you a fan? Were you a fan? Are you still a fan? Does it still hold up? Maybe you weren't, but now you are. Maybe you were, but now you aren't. I don't know. Jump into the comment section below and let me know your thoughts. Let's jump over to the chat room now and see what you are all saying. I know some super chats came in, and also we got some new channel members as well. I gave them shout outs. Thank you so much. That's right. The link at the top of the page, or the link at the top of the chat room, is to to become a channel member, to become a member here on the channel. There are 2 tiers. Check them out and see which one is right for you. We've got exclusive shows. I'm going to be having like giveaways and contests and all that kind of stuff. I've only had the membership here on my channel for 1 week and we've already got nearly 70 members, which is amazing. I'm beginning to wind down my Patreon now. It's just easier for me that everything is here on YouTube. It's here on the channel. It's easier for me to kind of manage. So I think at the end of this month, I will close the Patreon and just focus on the channel membership because I just wanted to make sure we evened out and because I didn't know if anybody would be interested, but we're doing really, really well, really, really well. So check it out. The link is at the top of the chat room and become a McCrazy member here on the channel. Like I said, we're at like 65 or 66. I want to get to 100 by Halloween. That would be amazing. Maybe even 110 or 20 by the end of the year. I don't know. But that's my goal anyway for channel membership here on the channel. So check it out. It's exclusive images, exclusive badges, and emojis as well. You'll notice that you'll see some people in the chat room where their name is highlighted green and they have a little emoji beside or a badge beside their name. That little badge is actually me as Freddy Krueger from Dylan's New Nightmare. That's the new member badge. So you'll notice that. But I have a Butt Dave emoji. I got a Busta Rhymes emoji. I got a dog shit emoji, just a dog taking a shit. Like, I just thought that was funny. So yeah, check it out, folks. If you want to become a member here on the channel, I would greatly appreciate it. Trying to inject new life into the channel, trying to have some fun, and keep you guys on your toes. So let's go over now to, I know some super chats did come in, so let me get these super chats. Just a couple of them came in. Here we are. New channel members. Sean Sheridan says 99 cents, I guess. Happy Sanjo gifted. Oh, Happy Sanjo gifted a membership. Amazing. That's amazing. I forgot you could do that. I totally forgot you could do that. Yeah, you can. You've gifted a membership. So does that mean, who did you gift it to? Do I have to gift it to, I should have looked at this. You've gifted it to somebody, right, Happy? And I don't have to now go and give it to somebody. You've already done that. That's very nice of you to do that, man. Very nice. I forgot that, yeah, channel members can gift memberships to others as well. I forgot you could totally do that. Amazing. Caleb Dingman sends in $1.99, says, you made me smile today, lifting up my lone spirit. Well, hey, man, that's awesome. I'm glad I was able to do that for you. Amazing, dude. Chin up, stay strong. Whatever you're going through, I believe you can get through it. Simon Mills sends in 10 euros and says, at least Freddy looks scary in this. The makeup was great and Robert's performance was a step up from Freddy's Dead. That I do agree with in terms of the look of Freddy. And yes, I do agree with that. And Demon Freddy, like that's what, like it's got one, I mean, Demon Freddy's awesome. And was a fun time in the cinema when I saw it back, when I saw it with a kick-ass soundtrack. Simon Mills is a big fan. Michael Dammit, new member. Yes, we got that. And Mario Fontano. Amazing. Very, very cool indeed. Let me jump. So I think I've got all the super chats. Let me jump back over here to the other screen. See what you guys are doing. So where are you guys? There you guys are. Okay. Make sure I got the right tab up. So it did it automatically, said Happy. Amazing. That's awesome, dude. Thank you so much for doing that. That's really cool. I forgot you could do that. I should have mentioned that. Mendel Goodman, one of our great members here, says, well, how's it going, Dave? Doing well. We're just talking about Freddy versus Jason and celebrating that it's been 20 years today. 20 years. Rob Thidoff says, Dave, in your opinion, who had the better overall TV career, Michael Landon or Andy Griffith? I don't know. I don't know. I've never given it much thought. It's a out of left field question, Rob. I'm not really sure. That's a very good question, but I'm not entirely sure. So I'd have to think on that. Maybe Andy Griffith? I don't know. They're pretty close. I'd say they're pretty close. I'd say they're pretty close. Warren Armour says, remember Jason had a potato sack before the hockey mask? He did. Yes, he did. Yeah, that's right. He did. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool, you know? And the fact that it was only in one movie makes it that much more special in a lot of ways. Josh McKenna sends in $9.99. Thank you, Josh, and says, what's your favorite part in planes, trains, and automobiles? I love it when Steve Martin drops the F-bomb repeatedly. I also like my dogs are barking line when John Candy takes off his shoes and socks. Yeah, look, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles is one of my favorite comedies of all time, period. It's my favorite John Candy movie. And probably my favorite Steve Martin movie, up there with his first movie he ever did called The Jerk. I think it's just absolutely hilarious. There's so many great moments. I love, where's your other hand? Between two pillows. Those aren't pillows. Like, I mean, just so funny. I also really like the, when they're on the plane and it's before he takes off his shoes and socks and he's like, he opens up this little wallet thing and he's got shower curtain rings in there. And he's just like, American Light and Fixture, shower curtain ring division. Like, it's such, like, you don't think of it because he says it so fast and it kind of goes over your head, but it's so funny. That line is so stupid. It's so funny. There's an entire division dedicated to shower curtain rings. And I just thought it was so funny. And he's got like these little samples, like swatches. He's got these little samples. It's just so funny. I laugh every time. He takes it so seriously. So I think that line is just great. But yeah, I mean, the fact he starts whipping around his sock and things like that. And there's so many great moments, I love the line when he's there at the, they're having, breakfast or whatever. And Steve Martin's like, he's upset that he's not going to be there for his daughter's Thanksgiving pageant. And John Candy's like, those are the precious moments. Yeah. They don't come back again. It's just so funny. Like, thanks, Del. Thanks. Yeah, thanks. But what a sweet movie and full of heart. And obviously that ending is just, I mean, magnificent. You know what I memean? So yeah, one of my favorite comedies of all time for sure. Michael Dammit says 27 F-bombs. Was it really 27 in the whole movie or just that scene with, oh yeah. And of course the scenes that Josh said are, are absolutely fantastic. Absolutely. 100%, for sure. Ba 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 da da da. Sil Maryland says, Dave, have you considered making a Discord for your fans to chat, congregate when you aren't streaming? It's a great way and free way to stay connected, among other things. I haven't. Remember, I'm 44 years old. So, I hadn't heard of Discord until I don't know, a year ago. I'm not a gamer, and I know that it's used for a lot of gaming. Or is that Twitch? Maybe that's Twitch. Maybe that's Twitch. I haven't. I gotta just, again, I don't want to bite off more than I can chew. I've got YouTube, I've got Facebook, I've got Twitter, I've got Instagram. I had Patreon and I had to close it down because I couldn't keep up with it. It's just easier for me with everything is just all in one place. So I'm not saying there aren't benefits to it, but not right now. Not right now. I gotta just, just too much. I gotta be careful. Because I would rather underpromise and over-deliver than overpromise in all these platforms and areas. I mean, people have often said that I should start a Twitch and I should start a this and a that and I should start another YouTube channel specifically just for this content. It's like, guys, hey, I'll do it if you want to pay for it. If you want to pay for it, I'll do it. It just means it's more time and I got to take more time away from. So if people want to pay for it, okay, I ain't doing it for free though. It's just not going to happen. You know what I mean? It's not, it's just, it's a lot of time, takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, so it's, yeah, I don't want to bite off more than I can chew. So, never say never, but right now, not right now. Super chat from Happy Sandra says, I watched A Nightmare on Elm Street 2 last night. That scalp peel brain. Oh yeah, it's great, Happy. It's great stuff. You've got the body, but I've got the brain. Yeah, it's fantastic. Well, listen, I mean, for those of you that don't know, the look of Freddy in Dylan's New Nightmare was inspired by, obviously, a little bit of Wes Craven's New Nightmare, but the two films that really inspired it were A Nightmare on Elm Street 2 with the sunken-in eyes and Freddy versus Jason, the Demon Freddy. Now, obviously, my Freddy in Dylan's New Nightmare is not it's not all red, right? It's not completely red. But if you look at the ears and you look at the brow and things like that and some of the stuff, it's very Demon Freddy from Freddy versus Jason. There's a lot of similarities, especially in the ears. So there was a lot of inspiration from that, which is really cool. Which is really, really cool. Jordan Christie sends in $4.99. Thank you, Jordan. Says, Bob Clark made a horror movie the same year as Black Christmas called Death Dream that was filmed in my small hometown in Florida. Have you seen it? I am aware of Death Dream, but I have not seen it. No, I have not seen it. I'm aware that there's a Death Dream, though. Let me look into that. Just going to Google it right now. Bum, 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 bum. There it is. Yep. Death Dream 1974. When a presumed dead soldier reappears at his parents' home, there is joy. But soon as his behavior becomes more odd, tensions arise within the family. It's got 85% on Rotten Tomatoes. Very cool. I'll have to check it out. You're right. It was directed by Bob Clark. I did not. I've heard of it, but I have not checked it out. So thank you for the recommendation, Jordan. Really appreciate that, man. Thank you. Ted Unseth says, Dave, I remember Jason fans being surprised by Freddy's strength and speed in the real world. People forget fear made him stronger. It wasn't just Elm Street, but all the Springwood because of Jason. I'll take your word for that, man. I'm not up on, again, I've seen Freddy versus Jason. Like, I've seen Freddy versus Jason from start to finish, probably maybe 3 times in my life. Seriously. And then I've seen bits and pieces and clips, you know, all throughout my life. It's not a movie, like, again, like when it comes to me and these franchises, I rarely watch the later sequels. You know, I've watched them enough to be able to speak about them and know them and that kind of stuff. But Freddy versus Jason, fear made him stronger. Wasn't just Elm Street, but all the Springwood because of Jason. Yeah, I don't know. Does that make sense to horror fans out there? It sounds like it could make sense to me. You know, I mean, obviously the only other time I think he was in the real world, if I'm not mistaken, was Elm Street 2. That does play loose and fast with the, you know, with the rules of the universe. It does play loose and fast with the rules of the universe. All right. Have I missed any super chats? I got the others that were there, I believe. I believe I have. Happy Sanjo, got that. Got the Josh McKenna one. Got the Jordan Christie one. Okay, good. Just want to make sure I'm not missing any here, folks. Make sure I'm not missing any. What's the time? 47 minutes? Okay, we'll go a little longer. We'll go a little bit longer. Geeked Out Turtle Fan says, Dave, I was 23. God, I'm old when Freddy vs. Jason was released. I remember years before of rumors that it was going to be released in articles online. I was just happy to see them in the same film. Yeah, I remember that too. I was a year older than you, so I was 24, and I'm right there with you. I remember it. I specifically, as I talked about at the top of the show, I specifically remember the website, you know, and the soundscape on the website and the anticipation, and it just looked cool. But I even remember at that time being sort of very analytical about how Freddy looked, and you know, the glove looks a little, because it's, you know, the glove's it's like a yellow glove, and it's not like a, you know, it's so funny how we can be, but that's what I remember. And but I didn't see the movie in the theater. I did not see the movie in the theater. I saw it on either DVD or VHS when it came out. Is when I saw it. So I did not see it in the theater. I saw it when it came out. But I do remember the trailer for it. I remember going to see, what movie did I go see in 2003 where I would have saw the trailer? I don't know. Because it would have been a movie, I don't know. Some sort of horror movie back then, I think I would, or maybe not necessarily a horror movie. Anyways, I remember seeing the trailer in the theater, playing in front of a movie that I was watching. And I remember thinking, oh, yeah, but I just never got around to the theater to see it. Yeah. Sometimes it happens. Hey, new channel member, shout out to Tactical Therapist. I love it. Tactical Therapist has become a crazy member, level number 2. Amazing. Thank you, Tactical. Really appreciate that. Yeah, for those who are tuning in or are just tuning in, the link to my channel membership is pinned to the top of the chat room here. If you're watching after the fact, it's also in the description as well. And you get exclusive perks, exclusive shows, you know, things like that. Exclusive images. I've already shared a few exclusive images on my community section for my channel members from Dylan's New Nightmare. So, you know, just some fun stuff, right? Trying to have the channel grow, keep it interesting, exciting, all that kind of jazz. I love that name, Tactical Therapist. Love it. It's great. Let me see. Who else we got? We got Lee the Machine Bowers. Love it. Lee the Machine Bowers says, hey, Dave, I was 16 when I saw Freddy vs. Jason in the theaters. I wish Kane Hodder could have returned, but why didn't he return as Jason? Well, believe it or not, it was a size issue. It was a height issue. Get your minds out of the gutter, ladies and gentlemen. It was a height issue, a size issue. contrary to popular belief, and people always, make fun of me for saying this, and it's not an attack on Kane. It's not an attack on Kane at all. But Kane is not a tall man. I'm not saying he's a short man. He was a big guy back. He was jacked. He was he was thick. But he was, listen, I know IMDb and online people have him at 6'3". He's not 6'3". He's not. He's not. I've known people who have met him, and he also wears chunky heels as well to make him a bit taller at conventions. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not knocking it. I get it. He's Jason. I get it. In reality, he's probably 6 foot. 5'11", 6 foot is probably what he actually is if he's standing in his sock feet. You put the boots on him, he might be able to get himself to 6'2", or something like that. But he's not a huge guy, right? So, and that's evident even in some of the Friday movies he's in, where some of the female protagonists are not too far away from his height. And generally speaking, women are, 5'7", 5'8", 5'6", 5'5", you know what I'm saying? Anyway, so, but Kane Hodder's a legend. He's a legend. Right? Again, this is where nuance comes in, right? Like I'm hoping we can talk about these things without some dolt watching this going, oh, you just hate Kane Hodder. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm not saying that at all. It's just nothing to do with that. He's a legend. He's amazing. Kane Hodder. Now, because of how I grew up and I got into Jason before Kane Hodder ever took over. So Jason to me will always be Richard Brooker, Ted White, rest in peace. But I recognize that for a lot of Friday fans, Kane Hodder is your Jason. 100%. And he's played him the most. And he's a horror icon. He's a Friday the 13th icon. He's amazing. But Ronnie Yu, who was the director, wanted a hulking Jason, wanted a big presence, for which Kane Hodder is not. In terms of that kind of presence. So he hired Ken Kurtzinger, who is 6'5", 6'6", like in his sock feet, right? He's like just 6'5" or 6'6" or whatever he is. He's a big dude. So you put boots on him, he's going to be like 6'7", 6'8". He's like Darth Vader walking down the hall, right? You know what I'm saying? So that's why he wanted just more of a commanding, large presence. Whereas Robert Englund and Kane Hodder would have been more eye to eye, right? You know what I mean? Because Robert Englund is like 5'10", or whatever he is, 5'10", 5'11" at the most. So they would have been more like kind of in that area. And he wanted a significant height difference. So I get it, but it is kind of sad. I feel for Kane because, he's a big guy. He's just bigger this way than he is taller. Right. And, but you could have put you could have made him look bigger. You could have had him on board. I mean, look what they did with Michael Clark Duncan in the Green Mile. Michael Clark Duncan is not that big. Now, Michael Clark Duncan is jacked. Michael Clark Duncan is a big guy and he's tall. He's like 6'3", 6'4", something like that. But in the Green Mile, they made him look like he was like fucking 6'10". You know what I mean? He's not that much bigger than Tom Hanks and everybody else. They had him on boards and on probably Apple boxes and you know what I mean, to make him look larger. You could have done that with Kane. Although it would have been more difficult when you're getting masters with them in the same shot. You know what I'm saying? And they got to be grappling with each other. That's where it would have been a bit more difficult. So I get it. But that's ultimately why. Oh, a couple of super chat came in from Brandon Collins. Brandon Collins sends in $5. Thank you, Brandon. Says, met Kane at Spooky World in 1996. This was even before Jason X. He was so stoked to do Freddy vs. Jason. Ronnie Yu screwed him and fans. Unforgivable not casting him. Well, I get what you're saying. But you know what? For fans, yes. But I admire the balls. And the fact that this is the vision he had and this is what he wanted to go with. And he didn't want to compromise his artistic integrity for something he just didn't feel right about. He just didn't see it fit. He wanted Jason to be bigger than Freddy, and Kane Hodder is not bigger than Freddy. I'm saying he's big, he's jacked, right? But if Kane Hodder is taller than Robert Englund, it's by an inch or two. It's not a lot. Kane Hodder is not. I don't care what the internet says, folks. He's not 6'3". And so now that doesn't mean you can't make him that way. And maybe that's Brandon's point. Just stick big hunking, chunking heels on him. Yeah, maybe they could have done that, but he wanted somebody that was, look at how big Ken Kurtzinger is in Friday Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan, because he's in that. He's in the restaurant, and there's a brief moment when Kane Hodder as Jason picks up Ken Kurtzinger and throws him over the counter. Well, Ken is significantly taller than Kane. And I would imagine Kane's got some boots on there too, right? So I empathize. I do. I maybe I don't feel as emotional about it because, again, Ken, when I think of Jason, I don't necessarily think of Kane Hodder. But I recognize the cultural significance. I recognize how he is a lot of people's Jason, 100%. He's a legend, and he was the last Jason that we knew about. He was Jason in Jason X. So why wouldn't you? It makes sense that you would use him. Like that I empathize with 100%. But the filmmaker side of me goes, but if he really did feel passionate about that vision, he did what he had to do. And it took balls. It took balls. And now people don't seem to really care. You know what I'm saying? But I do feel for Kane. I do, because that would have been heartbreaking. But that's show business, and it's not the first time. It's not the first time that kind of thing has happened in show business. And when it happens, it does. It sucks. It sucks for the fans who are emotionally attached to that individual, and it sucks for the actor playing him. And I think what is really dicey when it comes to characters like Michael Myers and Jason, Leatherface even, is that because they are non-speaking roles, because they are not roles for which they don't necessarily gain the respect that they should. You see, with Robert Englund, because it's a speaking role, and because it's sort of a clown role, and a whimsical role, well, we got to get Robert Englund. We have to get Robert Englund, but Jason, he's just a guy behind a mask. Whatever. It's not hard to play Jason, right? There's a little bit of that. And Kane knows this. He's a professional. He's been in the business for years. He had been in the business for years when that movie was shot. So he knows that's the breaks, but it doesn't make it easy. It doesn't make it easy. It does suck. And I feel for him. I do. Like, I get it. I totally get it. Because I've had things like that, happen to me in my life too. Where there's been, like for example, it's not the exact same thing. It's not the exact same thing, but I've been replaced, right? Whereas, I was, I've been the voice of, say, like, a television network, which has happened, right? And I was the voice for like 6 or 7 years. And then all of a sudden somebody comes in. This happened. I was I wasn't the voice of the network, but I was I was on the verge of becoming the voice of the network. This is back in like 2012 or 13. And I was doing, even though I hadn't been hired for a contract yet, I was doing a lot of ads for the network here in Canada. I don't know if it's still here. It was called Slice. And I was doing all the Big Brother Canada ads and the Real Housewives of Vancouver ads. And I was doing a lot of station IDs and, all that kind of stuff. Even though it felt like they were kind of working towards that. And I was very excited about that. And then what happened? New creatives came on board. There was a shuffle at the network and new creatives came on board. It's not that I sucked. No, I just suck. But with new creatives come new visions. And it's like a new general manager on a sports team, right? They come in and they're like, you know what? I'm going to fire the coach because I want to bring in my guy. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's not fair. That's show business, that's sports, right? And so I remember I was very excited. Even the producer at the network was like, I think we're working towards signing you to be the voice of Slice. And it's a big network in Canada. And I was very excited about that. Again, this is like 10, 12 years ago. It was a long time ago. And I was like, oh, this could be great, right? Could be great. And then new creatives came in. As I said, they wanted to kind of maybe steer in a bit of a different direction. You know, there's my stuff where they're like, oh, you know, it's fine. You know, it's fine. But you don't want to bring in, you know, how about a female? Maybe we get a woman doing, how about we get, you know, what do we do? And they wanted to play around with it. And the producers were like, well, okay, you know, but they bring in their own creatives. And that happens all the time. If you're a voice actor, you know what I'm talking about. That happens all the time. And sometimes you're you do get to the point where you're the voice of a network for so many years. And then new creatives come in and they want to change up the voice. They don't have to change up the voice, you know, but they feel like they're doing something, right? It's a new identity, a new voice, right? You know, maybe we'll go with an actor who's got a deeper voice. Maybe we'll go with somebody who's younger. Maybe we'll go with a female. You know, whatever the case is, right? Those things happen. So again, not completely carbon copy parallel with what Kane has been through, obviously. But I've been through the parallels of that kind of thing in the voiceover acting world. And it sucks. You're like, fuck, damn it. You know what I mean? And, you know, being replaced or being shuffled out or, whatever the case is. Again, obviously the stakes are not nearly as high. It's not like I had a gigantic fan base of Slice fans that are all like, oh, we want Dave McRae on those Real Housewives of Vancouver ads. God damn it. No, of course it's not identical, but hopefully you can get what I'm trying to say. And I feel for the guy. Like it does suck. It is too bad, but that's show business. You know what I mean? And he wasn't contractually obligated, and that's what happens. But it does suck. It does suck, absolutely. All right. Okay, we'll go for a little bit longer. I just want to make sure I've got all the super chats. I didn't miss any new channel members. No. Okay, just making sure. Why is that doing that? That's so weird. I don't know why it's doing that. My tabs are acting a bit funny, but okay. All right. Let me see here. Justin Smith says, Kane is actually in Freddy vs. Jason by mistake. At the mental hospital, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3 is on the background, and the scene that's shown is actually Kane as Leatherface. Oh, well, maybe that was on purpose. I don't know if it was on purpose, but maybe it was. Maybe it was kind of like a tip of the hat to Kane or just to kind of just, you know, acknowledge him or something. I don't know. I have no idea. I haven't looked into that. I have not looked into it. Goddamn. I haven't looked into it, so I don't really know. Jigsaw 44 says, if Freddy gave Jason a voice, what would he say? Freddy dies tonight. Maybe. Yeah, he might say that. He might say that. Trig1017, one of our great members, says, I think we should all be thankful it turned out to be a pretty good movie. For all purposes, it should have been horrible. Yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, quality is often in the eye of the beholder, and there are some people out there that do think it's dog shit. I'm indifferent to it. Like, I don't loathe Freddy versus Jason because I do understand what it's supposed to be. It could only be that. You could never do a Freddy versus Jason, as I was saying at the top of the show, in 2003 and have it be serious. You know, you just couldn't do it. The characters were not there. You know what I mean? Too many bad movies, too many silly, dumb movies. The characters had grown too much. You know, they were too identified as being, or especially Freddy was too identified as being a one-liner cracking clown, you know, really at the end of the day, even though I agree with the viewer that said at least he was scarier and a little better and the makeup absolutely was better in Freddy versus Jason than it was in Freddy's Dead. That is true. But he still was no, like, you know, like you could do a Freddy versus Jason and have like the Freddy from part 1 or 2. So let's take Freddy from part 2, right? Which is arguably the scariest Freddy and the scariest looking Freddy. You could take that Freddy and you could take the scariest Jason, which is what? I don't know, part 3 or 4, right? You could do a Freddy versus Jason with those two versions of Freddy and Jason, but it would be a very different movie. You couldn't have it be tongue-in-cheek. You couldn't have one-liners being cracked and just the overabundance of silliness. Like, and having like a mattress bend a guy, but like that's just part of the Looney Tunes cartoon of it all. Like, because by 2003, their respective final movies, you look at Jason Goes to Hell or even Jason X, but certainly, Jason Goes to Hell, Freddy's Dead, they're just cartoon characters. It's Tweety and Sylvester. It's the Roadrunner and, Wile E. Coyote. I mean, it's just bonkers dumb. So you could do a Freddy versus Jason with Freddy 2 and Jason 3 or 4, but it'd be a very different movie. It'd have to be a very different movie because you wouldn't want to water down and destroy the magnificent mystique of that Freddy and those Jason. So it'd be a serious film. That would be interesting. And that would be interesting, where it's not comedy, it's not comedic. You're sitting there and you're watching a legit scary fucking movie. You're sitting there and watching a legit scary movie with Freddy and Jason. Legit scary. You know what I mean? And when they face off, it's not Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote. It's not Sylvester and Tweety. It's not Bugs Bunny and Daffy, or Bugs and Elmer Fudd, I should say. That's a better example. No, it's fucking serious. And you walk out of there going, man, that was intense. But you couldn't do that movie in 2003. Could you do it now? Maybe. You might be able to do that kind of a Freddy versus Jason now. But I don't know if that's what fans want now. I don't know. I could see people being I guess it's all in the writing and how good the movie really is and how scary it really is. But I don't know if you could do that now. You know what I mean? I don't think it would resonate, really. Yeah, I'm not really sure. It's interesting, though. It's fascinating. Chris Snyder, one of our great members, says, I actually prefer Kane as Victor Crowley and Hatchet over this. Jason, honestly, over his Jason, honestly, not that he's a bad Jason, not at all. I've only seen the first Hatchet, and it's been years since I've seen it, because I think it came out, in 2006 or something like that? So it's been a long time since I've seen the first Hatchet. So I got to see that again, but there's a lot of people that really like that Hatchet series and are clamoring for a Hatchet 5. All right. Did I miss any super chats? I don't think I have. Just want to make sure I'm not missing any. Once again, also folks, reminder, channel membership. If you want to become a McRae member here on the channel, the link is pinned to the chat. It's also in the description. There's 2 tiers. The first tier, you get your name, even both tiers, but you get your name on the title card at the beginning of every live stream and every show, exclusive badges and emojis, and also exclusive to, you get access to, I think I actually have it here. You get access to, oh, wait, well, that's not it. That's for the next one. There we go. Yeah, you get access to the movie room, a members only Q&A. That's tier number 1. On tier number 2, you get everything in tier number 1, but you also get access to One Good Scare, where Halloween fans talk all things Halloween. That's the Halloween show. I have to set a date for that still. And you also get access to Horror Movie Nights, where McCrazies watch classic horror. And there is a date for that already. So very exciting indeed. So yeah, head to the link at the top of the chat or in the description and check it out if you want to support the channel and become a member here on the channel. Exclusive images as well. There's 2 things. There's member first images that you get access to if you're part of tier number 2, which is I post I will post a photo there at least 24 hours before I post it anywhere else. And then there's also member-only photos, which are photos I only share with tier number 2 members. It's tier number 2 where you have to get the exclusive images, but tier number 1's pretty good too. You get your name on that card, you get the movie room, a members only Q&A, and you get exclusive emojis and badges, and that's pretty good too. Oh, and you'll get access, of course, to giveaways and contests and that kind of stuff too. I haven't done a giveaway or a contest yet, because again, I'm only in the first week here. Again, I want to bite off more than I can chew, but I am going to be doing it soon. A giveaway kind of thing where we have like a spinning wheel. You know, I did that on my Patreon once. We have all the members on a spinning wheel, and we hit the spinning wheel and it goes, and then whoever it chooses wins whatever prize I have up. I'm going to be doing that too for all members, 1 and 2. Edward Nito sends in $10. Thank you, Edward, one of our great channel members here, as you can see with that little Freddy Krueger, the Dylan Zoo Nightmare Freddy Krueger badge. Sends in $10. Thank you, Edward. Appreciate that. Says, sup, Dave? Dude, I was working at Suncoast Video in the mall when this came out. It was a fun theater experience. However, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2003 remains the best horror experience for me. Wow. Amazing. Amazing. So cool. It's funny. I was working at a video store. I was working at Rogers Video. Because again, I hadn't gone full time yet. I've been full time in the entertainment industry since 2006. I've been full time since 2006. But between 2001 and 2006, I had to have, a job to supplement the income, right? As you're pursuing your career. And in 2003, I was working at Rogers Video, which is basically the Canadian Blockbuster. Now, we also had Blockbuster here as well. We had them all over the place. But we also had a chain called Rogers Video. And I was working at Rogers Video when this came out. And yeah, it's funny. We both were working at video stores, my man. That's so funny. The best horror movie experience of my life. You know what? I should save that. I should think on that, save that, and save that. Yeah, for like a show or something, or a video. Maybe not a live stream, but maybe a video. I'm planning on doing a video soon where I'm going to go up to, there's a Spirit Halloween around the corner from me here. And I think I might go over to it, maybe take some video in there. Of course, they probably won't like that, but maybe I can do it secretly. I don't know. Just to see what they've got up there. Although I will say this. I know this is not the cool thing to say. Okay, this is a hot take. The fuck is Spirit Halloween doing opening in August? Okay, like, listen, I'm a Halloween guy. I love Halloween. But like, seriously, can we not just enjoy the summer? Now, listen, if you're a diehard Halloween fan and you crave the fall and this is just your jam, and it's blasphemous to even say that. But you know me, I like things to remain in their lanes. When it's Halloween, I don't want to fucking think about Christmas. When it's the summertime, I don't want to think about Halloween. Of course, I'm always talking about Halloween, but you know what I mean. I mean, in terms of like what is going on? It's like the clocks, right? And daylight savings. I know there's some place in the world. If you live in a part of the world where you still do the daylight saving things, oh God, when I was a kid, daylight savings, we put the clocks back in October and we put them ahead in April. Now we're putting the clocks back in November and putting them ahead in March. What's next? The clock's back in December and ahead in February? What the hell's the point? What is the point? Just get rid of daylight savings. I don't care if I gain an extra hour of daylight in the morning and in the winter. I don't care. I don't care if when I get up it's dark and go to bed I don't care. Enough of this. Just enough. Enough of this daylight savings nonsense. And listen, I love me some Spirit Halloween. I do. It's fun. I enjoy it. It's fun. This is not a knock on the store. This is not a knock on the store. Spirit Halloween, you're watching. I love you. There's nothing wrong with it. But August, what's next? July? Why July? Why not June? Why not? School's out. Why not June? It's just who I am. I like when September hit. Like, I can understand. Because it used to be September. These things are insidious. These things are insidious. I'm telling you. It's like a kid, man. You let them get away with something, and they think they could just push it to the back. That's what ends up happening. Used to be September, right? Remember that? Used to be September, kind of middle of September after Labor Day. People start thinking about Halloween. No, now it's August. I'm on the beach getting a suntan and 108 degree weather and also thinking about pumpkin and trick-or-treating. And then, of course, the diehards are, yes, exactly. I get it. I totally get it. I know there's a certain section of the there's a certain section of the population right now that are just totally, I don't know. I just it's the summer, man. I still want to feel the summer. And maybe it's because of this. Maybe it's because of this very important factor. I live in Canada. And if you live in Canada, or if you live in the northeast of the United States or the Midwest of the United States, where you experience the 4 seasons, not the group, Sherry baby, Sherry baby, Sherry baby, Sherry, won't you come out tonight? Love the 4 seasons. But if you are somebody that experiences the 4 seasons of weather, spring, summer, fall, winter, you know that, sometimes summers can be kind of crappy. Sometimes summers are great, and then sometimes, you don't know, right? You don't know. And the winters can be long if you live in the Northeast or the Midwest or here in Canada, right? I mean, you get that winter it starts to get crappy in November and December and January and February and March, and then April can be hit and miss. April's that transition month, right? From, it can be kind of, so, let's not think about cold weather. We want to enjoy the heat for as long as we can get it. If you live in Florida, where you experience warm temperatures all year round, or Arizona, or California, and I understand that you get your cool weather too, but listen, it's cute. It's cute. It's cute. It's cute when the Floridians and the Californians are like, oh, it's a little chilly out here. You're cute. Come to Toronto in February. And maybe you'll understand why I'm like, hang on, Spirit Halloween. I love you. I do. I love you. But let's hold on just a little bit. Just give me August. Just give me August. Give it to me. I'm not asking for much. Not asking for much. That's all I'm saying. Kevin L sends in $1.99, one of our new members here on the channel. Kevin L, thank you, Kevin, says, favorite kill in the movie. In Freddy vs. Jason, I've only seen the movie maybe from start to finish 3 times in my life, and I haven't seen the movie from start to finish probably since the last time I watched it with Tony on an episode of Two Dudes. So I'm going to say that I got to go with the mattress scene. I believe that's Jason Ritter, right? I think that's his death, if I'm not mistaken. I might be mistaken on that. That I'm going to say is my favorite. I'm going to say that because it's just so silly and bonkers and wild. But again, I would have to brush up on the movie and watch the movie again. There might be another one. I'm not really sure. There may be another one. Not really sure. All right. I think I've got all the super chats. Let me just go back here. Edward Nito. Yeah, got that. Okay. Let me see here. Where are we? Oh, no. I got the Kevin one. Just scrolling down. All right. 10 minutes, folks. You got 10 minutes left in the show. 10 minutes. Geeked Out Turtle Fan says, Liam Neeson as Freddy. I have a particularly set of claws. Yeah. Claws. I will find you. And I will hurt you. Probably will have my hand. Yeah. Liam Neeson as Freddy. That'd be funny. Liam. Yeah, no, I stand by what I've said before, that I think it should be an unknown actor. Somebody you don't know. And he doesn't have to be old. He shouldn't be old. It doesn't have to be a horror actor with a headshot like this. Not the saying that, horror actors can't do it. I'm just saying that I think it should be Somebody unknown. Reese Wilson says, I'm savoring the last days of winter here in Australia. Oh, you're cute, Reese. You're cute. I'm just busting your balls. Yeah, no, it is. It is winter right now in Australia. Reese, come to Toronto if you want to experience a real winter. Where it gets to like minus 35 degrees Celsius. With the wind chill. No, but it is winter right now in Australia. You're right. And it cools down. I wouldn't say it gets, I've heard it doesn't get like cold, but it might be, I mean, to you guys, it might be actually quite chilly, but I have heard that it gets, it cools down a little bit. And of course, I mean, the summers in Australia are just scorchers. So I hear. I've never been to Australia, but I hear they are scorchers. Frank Riker, one of my great moderators, and of course, great channel member here, says, Dave, such a fucking Grinch. I am a Grinch. You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch. You're a whatever I forget what the lines are. Mr. Grinch. It's true. I'm a Grinch. No. Butter Cookie, one of our new channel members, says, trust me, there will be Christmas decorations out in October, maybe late September. Oh, it's insane. It's crazy. I mean, it's just, I remember when, the Halloween stuff didn't come out until definitely after Labor Day, for sure. Like it would have been like maybe the middle of September. And then the middle of September, right to the end of October's Halloween. And then as soon as November 1st hits, though, Christmas stuff goes onto the shelf. And I get that. That's fine. But I don't want to see like Christmas stuff in September. Like, get out of here, you know? People just do that now. Like, you can't be that, like the lack of objective awareness you must have to think that that's just normal. No, people do it just because it gets rises out of people like me. That's why they do it. They put up their decorations early, you know, they put up their Christmas lights in October because they know it gets rises out of people like me. That's what happens, right? That's what happens. Sebastian says, I remember trick-or-treating in 2012. You must be quite young, Sebastian. And looking into someone's house and everything tattered in Christmas decorations, so I left. Amazing. That probably was so you would leave. Maybe they didn't want to hand out any candy or anything like that. Do you remember what you went as? The last thing you went as trick-or-treating? I'm trying to remember. The last time I trick-or-treated would have been, it would have been the early 90s, like 90 or 91, maybe 92. I stopped trick-or-treating when I was about 11 or 12. I've said this before, but one of the annoying things I hate about teenagers that trick-or-treat is, and I've turned them away, I have, is that they'll show up in jeans and a hoodie with like a mask on. I'm like, nah, get the fuck out of here. They're like, what, man? What, bro? I'm not gonna give you candy, bro? Bro? Or they'll show up with like their football helmet on and they're coming as a football. Listen, call me party pooper and shit. And I'm like, no, your high school football uniform's not a fucking Halloween costume. You're not going to come to my door at 17 years old in your high school football uniform with your Letterman jacket and be like, trick or treat, man. And I'm going to give candy when I can give it to some poor ass fucking, 11-year-old who didn't get their candy, whose dress is something really fucking cool. Nah. Go home, put on a costume, come back, and maybe I'll think about putting the little crispy crunch, I don't know, whatever fucking chocolate bar, candy bar, whatever, nerds, whatever, into your bag of Doritos, and maybe I'll think about it. Oh yeah, I've turned some people away because, and they were dicks though. Like, you knew they were dicks. Like, it's not like they were like, sorry dude, totally. You know what I mean? No, they were dicks coming up to the door. Like, yeah, trick or treat, you this one, man. Boom, boom. No, this is, I got this, bro. I got this. Trick or treat. I'm like, yeah, no, what do you just, you like just come from the game? Oh, come on, bro. I got my football hat on, bro. Nah, man, I'm not putting, bro, come on, bro. Come on, bro. No, come on, man. Put some effort into it. Put some effort into it, man. Come on, it's Halloween, man. It's probably because it's Halloween, right? You gotta take this fucking shit seriously. Now, that's just me. That's just me. That's just me. You're damn right, Brandon. Get off my lawn, McRae. You're damn right. Come on, put some effort into it. I'm a high school student, bro. Get the hell out of here. I had somebody say that one time. They came up with a backpack, their backpack from school. They had a binder in their hand. They were dressed in jeans, a hoodie, and their hat, and they had a bag, and they're like, I'm a high school student. I'm like, yeah, no shit. But that's not a fucking costume. So you're not getting anything. Just saying. Just saying. Don't come up to my door. It's Halloween, bitches. Don't disrespect Halloween and come up to my house without a costume. Just saying. High school student football player ain't no costume. Now, if a little kid who's like 7 comes up to my door in a football outfit, well, yeah, I get it. You're just lazy. You're lazy, bro. It's not cool to wear a costume. That's what it is. I'm not wearing a costume, man. It's not cool. I don't wear a costume. I'm a fucking jock. I'm a bro. I'm a bra. It's not cool to wear costumes because I'm a bra. So I'm just going to throw on my jean jacket. They wear jean jackets anymore? Just going to throw on my jacket, my football helmet. That's not cool, man. I'm a bra because I'm a bra. Now get out of here. Get out of here. Get off my lawn. Oh, man, I love it. I love it. Kevin L. sends $1.99, says, didn't you scare them with a lawnmower? Yes. Yes, you are right. That was one year I did that. Yes, you are right. You are right. There were kids that were coming up. I don't think they were like, I don't think was it these teenagers? I can't remember now, but you're right. You are right. Yeah. I went into my backyard and this is when I lived in Ottawa. This is when I was a teenager myself. Okay. So I'm not an adult. I mean, I was like 17. Well, I might've been 18. I can't remember, but I was like a teenager. I was a kid myself. This is like mid to late 90s. And I was with Bruce and we put on a show. We had like the light set up with, different colored gels. We had the fog machine, the Halloween music playing. We had like a couple of haystacks. We made like this makeshift kind of barn thing and we went all out. You know what I'm saying? Like we put on like a show. And there was kids coming up, no costumes, and they would kick over our hay barrels. And it's like, what are you doing? Like, are you trick-or-treating? Oh, trick-or-treating. Like, nah, get out of here. Now, I want to go like, hey, bruh. Now, this is long before like, hey, bruh. This is like 30 years ago. This is long before that. But I was like, what the fuck? So I went into my backyard. It wasn't my lawnmower, it was my parents' lawnmower. And I went in my backyard and I started up. It was a gas-powered one, right? So I'm like, and all I hear from the kids is, oh my God, chainsaw! It wasn't a chainsaw, but they obviously thought it was. I'm like, and it's just like, and I guess it sounded like a chainsaw to them. And they took off running down the street. I opened the door and I'm like, and they're running down the street. Never saw them again. Never saw them again. I was like, yeah, that's right. Kicking over my fucking hay barrels. Don't fucking do that. Listen, people might think I'm strict, but it's only because I love Halloween. And I especially love, costumes and coming up to the door. And it doesn't take much. And it's not like I'm expecting them to go home and get all decked out in like prosthetic makeup like I was with Freddy. I'm just saying go home, put on a mask even. I mean, even if you come up in your hoodie, at least you're wearing a mask or something. But you coming up pretending to be you are a high school kid. Get off my lawn. No. Or go home and come back. That's what I always used to say. Just go home and come back. Oh, bro, fuck you, bro. Oh, bro, other parents are doing it. Well, that's them. Then go back to them. This is me, man. It comes from a place of love. Just know it comes from a place of love. Comes from a place of love. Rosalia, Bubba Gump McRae. It comes from a place of love, ladies and gentlemen. All right, last super chat here from Frank Riker, one of our great mods and great channel members, sends in $5, says, if I were to show up at Dave's house in my football uniform trick-or-treating, I would have said, sorry, sir, the costume I wanted sold out in August. Ow! Then maybe it would have worked. I might have given you some chips, Frank. I might have given you some chips. All right, folks, listen, that's going to do it for this episode of McRae Live. Thank you to my great moderators, Frank Riker, Tap of the Shore, Darren Sands, Chris Baber, Cody Snyder, Andrew Stevens. Thank you for doing what you guys do. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you to the super chat questions that came in today. And thank you to the new channel members as well. And to all my channel members out there for being members here on the channel. And if you want to get in on the action and become a crazy member here on the channel, the link is in the description. Check them out. There's 2 tiers and become a crazy member here on the channel for exclusive perks, shows, and all kinds of goodies. Again, we're only a week old here, so we're still getting our footing, but it's really exciting stuff. So check it out if you want to be part of the exclusive action. That's going to do it for me. Jump into the comment section and let me know your thoughts on Freddy versus Jason celebrating 20 years this year. Absolutely incredible and absolutely amazing. If you want to follow me on social media, you can. My links are in the description. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I got to change that to X now. They're all in the description. Check them out until your heart's content. And when your heart is content, check them out again. That'll do it for me. In the meantime and in between time, I will talk to you all soon. Cheers.